Aston Villa impress in another thriller in the US. Moussa Diaby, he looks alright, doesn't he? And we'll sum up the summer series. Hello and welcome to All Villa, No Filler. Please like and subscribe if you love the mighty Villa. Now I'm fresh from the weekend where I saw Barbie, great film, saw Oppenheimer, goodish, long but goodish, and also saw Aston Villa, exceptional. So that was quite good. I did miss the first 25 minutes of Aston Villa versus Brentford. So when I got in, I was like, it's 2-0, huh? This was on my girlfriend's birthday as well. I was like, lads, you're supposed to impress on my girlfriend's birthday. So we turned it on, and as soon as we turned it on, Ezri Konsa felt the power of Alan Hutton run through his veins, like against Birmingham City, and ran the length of the pitch. Felt the power of Heman in that sword, you know, and it ran all the way through the Brentford team and smacked it top corner. I was like, well, that was easy. What? How are we 2-0 down? What's been going on? And then within minutes, Villa were 3-2 up. And I was like, what? We looked brilliant. McGinn was running the show. Moussa Diaby was unplayable. I was thinking, what's been going on, lads? We're all right, aren't we? What's the deal? So I actually went back and watched the first 25 minutes, though, today. And actually, Villa played well. They were the two goals were completely against the run of play. The first goal, the ball over the top, Schade timed his run perfectly, as we saw against Newcastle. Their midfielder did it. Schade did it well, where he stayed in his own half. Villa's high line was so far forward that we were in our own half. He broke through, couldn't have been offside, and just threw on goal, which with the high line, that's going to happen sometimes. Hopefully, Villa's defence can iron out these mistakes in pre-season and then, get through Valencia and Lazio. And once we get to the Premier League, hopefully we'll be a bit more, there'll be a bit more cohesion with the high line than we've seen in the summer series on one or two occasions. Look, I'm not criticising the high line. I really like it. I think it's a very attacking style. But yes, there have been one or two moments that got caught at the summer series, and hopefully that will be ironed out by the time we get to the new season. And then the second goal, Justa Silva, well, it's just a world-class goal. That's what happens sometimes. Unstoppable. It even broke the net, didn't it, if you watch the replay back? But overall, I thought Aston Villa were playing really well. And hey, look, what did we see again? We saw that fullback pushing forward as soon as Villa got the ball, and suddenly you start to realise, oh, now it makes sense. 2 + 2 is 4 as to why Villa wanted Pau Torres, right? Because when we signed Torres, you were thinking, oh, what does that mean for Mings? What does it mean for Konsa? Well, it might not mean anything at all. What it seems to mean is that Emery is evolving the way Villa attack opposition teams. Now, last season we saw with Alex Moreno, the fullback would push really high up into the final third. And, Moreno was a real important part of Aston Villa's attack. Now, obviously, he's injured. I can't wait to see him come back and play in this new evolution of Aston Villa, where we saw with Matty Cash, as we saw with Luca Dean against Fulham, that once Villa get the ball, the fullback pushes right up to the top of the pitch, and then Villa's centre-backs, or left-back, pushes across, and it forms a back three. Three centre-backs, Mings, Konsa, and Pau Torres. And I tell you what, it ain't too bad to see Diego Carlos come in as somebody who could be a substitute for those players. So I think it worked quite well. It will have teething problems, of course. It won't always work perfectly, but hopefully in the next few games, Villa can get used to that. And I tell you what, it's exciting to see Aston Villa's evolution as an attacking team. What I thought was happening was that Matty Cash was pushing so far forward that sometimes you would have almost five Villa players, or 4, right up on the Brentford defence. And then if Villa won the ball, they could also lay it back to, let's say, a waiting John McGinn or Douglas Luiz pushing forward. So with Cash being that far ahead, it always meant that when somebody like John McGinn got the ball, let's say a ball was not ducked to Ollie Watkins, laid it off to John McGinn, it meant that John McGinn always had an option out wide, and he could pull it out there. And then Matty Cash, in fairness to him, I've not always been massively confident with how he plays in the final third. I don't think he always looks massively confident when he tries to take on a player. But actually, on 2 occasions yesterday, there were 2 times when he probably could have got an assist. One was a great ball across the area to Ollie Watkins in the second half. The Watkins definitely should have scored. First half, though, he cut inside on his left, on his weak foot, put across to Jaden Philogene, who was at the back post. And I think Philogene, could he have scored it? You know, it's one of them, but it was a good effort from Matty Cash. And then Cash himself got the goal, didn't he? And we'll get to that in a minute. So Ezri Konsa's goal, you know, the power of Alan Hutton running through him, that's a bit of a 1 in a million. You're going to see them once every few years. But really, the goals that impressed me were Moussa Diaby's goal. Now, deadly Douglas Luiz. Thomas Frankie said he was looking all over the place. Well, I tell you what, deadly Douglas. Aston Villa had that ball for a long time. They'd made a lot of passes, kept it going, kept recycling. They didn't get impatient. Now, Sunday League football in the UK, what's happening? All the dads are lined up on the sideline and they're all yelling, knock it long, have a go, you know, try and make that killer pass all the time. But Aston Villa's players are listening to Professor Unai. They're intelligent players. They know they can hold on to the ball and just tire Brentford out by keep playing and playing and wait, be patient. Wait for the moment to arise where the chance might come. Now, Douglas Luiz, he got the ball, played it back to a defender. Douglas Luiz was still in place. The defender played it back to him. Douglas Luiz turns. And what's happened? Moussa Diaby's made the run slightly to the side of the defender. Into his feet. What does he do? Cutting on his left. Boom, goal. Patience. Don't you just love it? Football is beautiful when played under Unai Emery. Now, Moussa Diaby, he's a player, isn't he? Right? One goal against Fulham where he cut across the defender, chased onto a ball that was knocked over the top, and he tried to do that again a couple of times against Brentford. So that's going to be something to watch this season when he plays as a second striker, making that run across the defence into space and just getting one-on-one on goal. I think he's probably going to get a few of those this season. But then also, there were moments where Diaby kind of got the ball and would come deep and just look around, wait for a simple pass or see somebody make a run, as he did in the second half, and he came deep. Lovely weighted pass into Matty Cash, who then put it across to Ollie Watkins, who should have scored. Diaby showed himself to be an intelligent player. He showed himself that he's quick reactions, clever movement, and also that when he came deep, he would, you know, generally win it. You know, as a diminutive player, he'd win it, lay it off cleverly, and it looks like Aston Villa have signed an elite attacker, and it looks like the journalists that I spoke to, who spoke so highly of Diaby, were correct. Because I know it's only pre-season. I get that. The acid test will be in the Premier League, and there will be some tough times ahead where he'll be in and out of form. But what we've seen so far is a player who is very, very good. And also, remember, at Bayer Leverkusen, he was generally a right winger. So he's got that versatility where we haven't even really seen him play on the right wing yet. He's been playing as a second striker off Watkins, and he looks a bit of a natural in that role, I would say, so far. And I think that what I've liked as well is that he's been pressing high, because there's been questions about his defensive attributes at Bayer Leverkusen. Well, so far with Villa, with that high press, he was doing that really well. McGinn was doing it well. Watkins was doing it well. Jaden was doing it well. All of them. It was great. I loved it. And then that third goal. What I was noting was happening with Villa was that somebody deep like Kamara or one of the defenders would get the ball and whip it along the floor, pierce those Brentford lines into a McGinn, into a Watkins or a Diaby. And what would happen is that Watkins would get it, lay it off to a McGinn. And look, he's got options then. Diaby's running in behind because of the space Watkins has created coming deep. He's got Matty Cash out right. And he's got Jaden Philogene as another option if he wants to turn his body and look out that way. There were a lot of options for McGinn to work with, particularly as he was playing in that kind of Buendia role. And by the way, I thought he actually looked exceptional in that role. What a versatile player. I think he could even play at centre-back. I think McGinn is looking like such a good player right now. He's come back to life under Unai Emery. But the third goal, McGinn, quite what Brentford were doing, letting him have the space of the entire United States, I don't know. But he ran through and lovely ball in from Douglas Luiz again, piercing that line from deep. And McGinn looks up and he's got a load of options, passes it into Matty Cash. Matty Cash, lovely stuff, turning inside, showing he can score a goal and beat a man. And, you know, if he's to do that quite a bit this season, you'd think Matty Cash will get a few chances to score goals. But the move of the half for me, the move that I really liked, was right at the end of the first half. And it was where McGinn took a shot that just almost went in the top corner and would have made it 4-2. Now, it kind of started with, I think, a goal kick into Ollie Watkins who come deep. And then the team, they were all working together so nicely. I think it went to McGinn and then McGinn worked it maybe to Diaby, back to McGinn, and then takes a shot almost into the top corner. And it was just that kind of the movement, right, from back to front, the options, the triangles, the structure, everybody kind of knowing their role, as The Rock would say in WWE. It was lovely stuff, is how I would put it. I think that seeing Aston Villa's attacking play in the first half, seeing the way that Villa moved around the pitch, seeing the way Villa were overloading Brentford, seeing that the players coming deep and moving into sort of positions that were hard to pick up if you were man marking, I think there was enough there that Aston Villa fans should look at that and see that there's been an evolution in how Aston Villa attack. The fullbacks are taking on an even more critical role now. But I can't help but think that Aston Villa looked like a team that we should be excited to watch this season. Villa are going to be a team that I think are going to be quite hard to stop. Yes, I get it. It's only pre-season. The acid test comes in a few weeks in the Premier League. There will be teething problems. We're not just going to smash everybody aside 10-0. But I think there's enough to suggest in the games at the summer series that Aston Villa are approaching the game, have versatility in the way they attack. They have a lot of players who can play in different roles, and they're playing in a way that's quite hard to stop. And I think that, Villa are, I think, a team to watch. If you're a neutral, Villa are a team to watch this season as to what they could do. They look like a really well-coached team, and I can't wait to see what Aston Villa do in the coming weeks and months ahead. Talking of versatility, it all goes back to goal kicks. Emi Martinez has Tyrone Mings and Ezri Konsa standing right there, and he thinks, right, I can pass it to one of them. But what happens now is that, opposition teams know that Villa like to play it around at the back and be patient, so they push high. But what does that mean? It also means gaps are created behind there. So Aston Villa are not afraid to knock it long when they have to. And on 3 or 4 occasions, Emi Martinez looked up and saw the space that the Villa attackers were in. So instead of just playing it around at the back, he did knock it long, and quite often it would go into the feet of Ollie Watkins, who could take one touch and lay it off to a McGinn, or it went into a Diaby, who took one touch and laid it off as well. Villa kind of have a lot of versatility at the moment. It's very difficult, I think, for opposition teams to know exactly what to do. Do you stick or twist? Do you press them, or do you sit off? I think a lot of teams are going to struggle to work that out this season with Villa, and I can't wait to see what Villa do to opposition teams when they try and play high or when they try and sit off us. I think that the versatility is there at the moment for Aston Villa in the way they attack and play it around at the back to suggest that Villa ain't going to be an easy team to stop this season for a lot of opposition teams. So look, yeah, I get it's only pre-season, and I know that it's going to be harder in the Premier League, but I don't see why there's any reason why fans shouldn't look at what Aston Villa have been doing in pre-season, shouldn't look at the way that Aston Villa have been evolving, how we look so well coached. Why Villa fans shouldn't be excited about that. Why we shouldn't be excited about our high calibre signings. Pau Torres looks like he's going to play a significant role for Villa this season as a really exceptional ball-playing defender who can also play it long along the floor into the striker's feet. Why we shouldn't be excited about Yuri Tielemans as just a very capable midfielder, very good on the ball, a really good like-for-like replacement for Douglas Luiz or even Kamara. And Moussa Diaby as well, who looks like a really high-quality attacker. I am excited by what's happening. But also it's worth mentioning the 2 youth players who played against Brentford. We'll start with Cameron Archer, right? Cameron Archer came on, so a couple of good moves, held the ball up a couple of times very nicely. I think it was against Fulham where you saw more about what he's about, where he's a player who's intelligent, waits for that midfielder to get the ball and waits to make that run at the right time. And on a couple of occasions he did it against Fulham. He did it against Brentford, but not so regularly. But what I think fans are going to have to be with Cameron Archer is just patient. I am really hopeful he's going to stick around at least until January. I don't think he needs another loan right now. I think he needs Premier League experience, really, if we're going to see what he's all about. I think that there's enough that we've seen in the last 2 games to suggest that he can compete in the Premier League. He can play in the Premier League. And I'm excited to see what happens once he gets a goal. I think he just needs a goal, right? And I think if he keeps playing as he did against Fulham, and if he keeps playing as he did against Brentford, the goals will come. The chances will come at least. So the goals should flow from that. And I think that people should just be patient with him. And I think that once he gets one goal, it could be like Jacob Ramsey when he got his goal, his first goal, which he got against Arsenal a couple of years ago. Ramsey just jumped up a level, didn't he? It was like, it gives you that sense of belief that you belong at this level. And I think with Cameron Archer, he's just waiting for that moment. And hopefully when it comes in the Premier League, if he sticks around, and I hope he does, if that moment comes, I think hopefully then we can see him go on a level, get that confidence in his head where he can be, I really truly believe that I belong at this level. And then Jaden Philogene Bidace, I don't want him to go on loan. I think, He was Young Player of the Year at Cardiff last season. He's got a year of championship experience. He's played to a high level, gotten kicked around, and matured almost certainly as a player. John McGinn mentioned the coaches had said to him that Philogene had looked very good. Unai Emery said in the post-match press conference after the Brentford game that he was pleasantly surprised by what Philogene had shown. He started 3 games. He's played plenty of football in the summer series. He's got a goal. He almost got a great assist as well on a couple of occasions. I think that Philogene has shown that he's a player who can do it in the Premier League and deserves a chance, and that he can be a versatile player. He can play out left, he can play out right, and I think he probably could play in that second striker role where Diaby is as well. He's a nice sort of replacement to have if Diaby ain't there, or if he ain't working for Diaby, you can stick Philogene in. But if you have the two of them together, the pace and penetration the two of them offer, it's great. It's a really good option, and I just can't help but think that, you know, the test for him was show what you've got in the summer series, proves at Unai Emery that you belong at the Premier League level. And I think he's done enough to show that he deserves to stick around. He's going to play against Lazio and Valencia. But I think Jayden Philogene, I really hope he sticks around in the Premier League this season, because I think he's shown that he's got something where he could be, again, as I mentioned with Cameron Archer, a player who, once he gets an assist or a goal in the Premier League, there could be a level he reaches that perhaps at this moment in time we don't quite anticipate he can reach. So look, overall, it's been, I think, a successful spell in the summer series. I think there's been a few goals that were conceded that were quite sloppy, basic balls over the top, the high line getting caught, players running from deep against us. So I think that's something that I would not be surprised if Newcastle try that over and over again. I just imagine what's going to happen at St James's Park is they're going to invite pressure. Kieran Trippier is going to be a key man for them, where he gets the ball quite deep, and he'll wait and wait for one of their midfielders to make the run through, and he'll, very good distributor of the ball, he'll try and knock it long through the defence. That's inevitably what a lot of teams are going to try and do against Villa. But look, I'm not saying I want any, to step away from the high line. I really like it. I think it's been working really well. But obviously, it's a very difficult thing to pull off. And I think Villa grew into it last season and ended up becoming a bit like experts in it, to be honest. And then in pre-season, let's just iron out some of the mistakes. Let's get used to playing a bit of a 3 at the back and then get, moving back into that 4-4-2, because it's been great to see Villa basically just playing with 3 at the back, and then as soon as we lose the ball, straight into a 4-4-2. Where do I think Villa can improve? I'd love to see another attacker. If Ferran Torres turned up on loan, brilliant, lovely. Another versatile attacker, great, I'd love it. And the fullback is such a crucial position this season. Alex Moreno is going to be a key player when he comes back, because he's the most natural attacker of the fullbacks we have. I kind of think that I'd like to see competition for Matty Cash outright. I like Cash. I think, he's got a lot to his game. Is he the best in the final third? Probably not. But who knows? Who's to say he won't grow into that if he plays more attacking football this season? But, I would like to see just competition, a player who can maybe just show a bit more in that final third than Cash generally does. That is not me getting a Matty Cash. It's just where I think Villa could have a little bit more strength in depth. And then, of course, the backup keeper, Robin Olsen's sticking around this season, according to Unai Emery. It does worry me if Emi Martinez gets injured, and I think it's something that could potentially come back to bite Villa. But look, we've got to support our team, and we've got to support Unai Emery, so we'll see what happens as the season progresses. But yes, so to finish it off, I think there's no reason whatsoever why fans shouldn't be excited about what Aston Villa are trying to do, about the tactical evolution in this team, about the youth players that are emerging, and our new signings. It is a really exciting time to be an Aston Villa fan, and I cannot wait to see what Professor Unai has in store for the Premier League in the coming weeks and months. Please like and subscribe. Look, I'm not going to be able to cover everything, am I? I might miss things that you see. So look, comment in the put a comment below. Just say what you think. Let me know, and we can chat about it, and then I can think about it and see it, and we can all, learn from what we're seeing and what different fans are seeing from Aston Villa in the Premier League. Please like and subscribe, as I say. But until next time, up the mighty Villa.